Imagine holding a penny in your hand, one that millions of people have overlooked, tossed into jars, or used to pay for coffee without a second thought. Now imagine discovering that very same penny is not just a coin, but a golden key worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, potentially even millions. Sounds unbelievable, right? But what if I told you that the 2006 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny could be that very treasure hiding in plain sight? Every great fortune has a story, and this one begins in a year most of us hardly remember as special. In 2006, the Denver Mint struck millions of Lincoln cents. On the surface, they looked identical to every other copper-plated coin circulating at the time. Yet, hidden among them are extraordinary varieties and errors so rare that collectors have fought for them in auctions, driving values sky-high. One verified piece has reached a current market value of over $206,000. And if history has taught us anything, coins like this only climb higher as the years pass. Think about it. How many times have you emptied your pockets at the end of the day, dropping pennies into a jar? How many of those coins sat there, collecting dust, ignored? What if, just once, you took a closer look and found a penny capable of rewriting your financial story? It's not fantasy. It's happening right now to everyday people who decide to examine what others dismiss. But let's take a step back. Why would a humble 2006 penny ever be worth more than a luxury car, more than a home in some cities, even more than a retirement nest egg? The answer lies in rarity, errors, and condition. Collectors aren't just buying metal. They're buying history, anomalies, and the stories that make these coins irreplaceable. A double die strike, a dramatic misalignment, or a minting flaw invisible to the untrained can instantly transform this tiny copper disc into a six-figure jackpot. Here's the part that most people never realize. While some errors are obvious, others are subtle, requiring magnification and patience. The thrill is in the hunt, the possibility that the very coin resting in your drawer is more valuable than your savings account. Doesn't that stir just a little curiosity? Isn't there a part of you wondering if you've already touched fortune without knowing it? Now, let's address the fear of missing out. Because while countless people dismiss their pennies as worthless, a select few are cashing in. Auction houses are buzzing, private collectors are eager, and the window of opportunity doesn't stay open forever. Once these rare coins are discovered and locked into private collections, they may never return to the market. Imagine realizing too late that you had one, and let it slip through your hands. Of course, some will laugh. A penny worth a house? A coin changing a life? But history proves otherwise. Just recall the 1943 copper penny, once thought impossible, now worth millions. What was once skepticism is now legend. The same story is unfolding again, and the 2006 D Lincoln penny could be your chapter. So, how do you know what to look for? Start with the basics. Check the condition. Coins in pristine, uncirculated states hold immense value. Then, look for signs of doubling in the lettering, irregularities in the design, or off-center strikes. Even a small imperfection can signal rarity. It's detective work for wealth builders. And here's a little humor to lighten the tension. Wouldn't it be ironic if the coin you used to scrape gum off your shoe could have paid off your mortgage? The urgency is real. Collectors are growing hungrier for modern rarities, and demand is pushing values higher with each passing year. Remember, the market doesn't wait for hesitation. The difference between action and delay could be six figures. Picture this: you dig through that old coffee can of change, and there it is, a 2006 penny with the Denver Mint mark showing just the right flaw. Your heart races, your hands tremble, and suddenly, you realize you're not just holding a coin, you're holding freedom. Freedom from debt, freedom to travel, freedom to live the lifestyle you once thought was out of reach. But here's the cliffhanger. Most people watching this imagine holding in your hand a simple copper-plated coin, something you might toss into a jar without a second thought. Now imagine that very coin being the gateway to a fortune, capable of transforming your entire financial future. The USA 2005 Lincoln penny without a mint mark isn't just pocket change. It's a hidden millionaire's ticket. And right now, one of these coins carries a current market value of $205,000. Strange, isn't it? A penny worth more than most homes, more than luxury cars, even more than a lifetime of salaries for many. How could something so ordinary, so small, hold so much power? That's the mystery we're diving into today. And by the end of this video, you'll understand not only why this coin is so rare, but also how it could be your chance to cash in on history hiding in plain sight. Every great story begins with something familiar. We've all held pennies, tossed them in fountains, ignored them in change, maybe even cursed them when they weighed down our wallets. But in 2005, the US Mint produced a run of Lincoln cents where a critical detail was missing: the mint mark. This tiny stamp, usually a D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia, tells us where the coin was born. Without it, a penny becomes a silent anomaly, a whisper from the mint that slipped through unnoticed. And here's the chilling part: only a handful are known to exist. That scarcity is what transforms a 1-cent coin into a 6-figure treasure. Imagine for a moment rummaging through a jar of coins in your kitchen, thinking you'll roll them up for the bank. Your fingers graze over a dull 2005 Lincoln cent. Nothing special until you notice the absence of a mint mark. Suddenly, your pulse quickens. Could it be? Could this be the one? That rush of excitement is what keeps collectors awake at night, and it's why the demand for rare pennies is exploding in today's market. But there's more at play here than luck. Wealthy collectors, investors, and institutions are actively hunting these coins, and they're willing to pay eye-watering sums to secure them. Why? Because in the world of collectibles, rarity plus historical significance equals generational wealth. One coin recently sold for over $200,000, and experts predict values could skyrocket even further as fewer of these coins remain in circulation. The window of opportunity is narrowing. Now, you might wonder, how on earth can a penny climb to millions in value? Think about art. A canvas with paint is worthless, but if it's a Picasso, suddenly the world bows down to it. The same principle applies here. A normal 2005 penny is a penny. A 2005 no-mint mark penny, however, is a masterpiece of minting error. And collectors? They're desperate to own a piece of that story. Most people who come across these coins will never know. They'll spend them at a gas station, drop them in a vending machine, or let them collect dust in a drawer. And when that happens, a fortune is lost forever. Think about it. How many times have you handled change without even looking at it? What if you've already let one of these treasures slip through your fingers? That's the fear every coin enthusiast carries, and it's why checking your coins is more urgent now than ever. So, how do you know if you're sitting on a jackpot? Start with the basics. Look closely at your 2005 Lincoln cents. If there's no D or P beneath the year, hold on to it like your life depends on it. Next, check the condition. A coin in pristine, uncirculated state can multiply its value dramatically. Collectors want perfection. The sharper the details, the higher the price. Imagine for a moment that the answer to your financial freedom is hiding in the smallest, most overlooked object you carry every day. A single penny. Not just any penny, but the 2003 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin. At first glance, it looks like pocket change you might drop into a tip jar without a second thought. But what if I told you that one of these coins has the power to transform your life, with a current market value soaring as high as $203,000, and in rare cases even touching the realm of millions? Would you ever look at your spare change the same way again? Here's the truth most people don't know. Rarity is the heartbeat of value. The 2003 no-mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just another coin. It's an accident of history, a rare error that slipped past the mint's watchful eyes. While billions of ordinary pennies flooded the economy that year, a handful left the production line missing a mint mark, and that tiny omission turned these cents into treasures. It's like striking gold without even stepping foot in a mine. Imagine cleaning out your coin jar and realizing you've been sitting on a 6-figure fortune this whole time. Doesn't that possibility make you want to look twice? Collectors know the thrill of chasing these treasures. The demand for a coin like this is nothing short of electric. Auctions are buzzing, dealers are watching, and wealthy collectors are willing to pay jaw-dropping amounts for the chance to own one. Some compete for status, some for investment, but all know one thing: these coins are becoming harder to find every year, and scarcity, my friend, only pushes the value higher. Now here's where the story takes a sharp turn. The window to capitalize on rare pennies like this isn't open forever. As time goes on, more collectors lock them away in private vaults, never to return to the open market. That means fewer coins available, higher demand, and rising prices. If you're holding on to one right now without realizing it, every day you wait could cost you thousands. It's like watching water slip through your hands. You don't want to wake up 10 years from now realizing you missed your chance. But how do you even know if you've got the real deal? Start by checking the details. The missing mint mark is the first clue, but condition is everything. A penny in pristine condition, untouched by circulation, can multiply in value overnight. Imagine the difference between a crumpled dollar bill and one that's crisp, clean, and straight from the bank. Same note, vastly different appeal. With coins, perfection can be worth hundreds of thousands more. Here's where it gets exciting. Grading services exist to certify your coin's authenticity and condition. Think of it as having an appraisal for a diamond. Without it, your coin is just a story. With it, your coin becomes proof, undeniable, authenticated, and ready to fetch a price that could change your life. Some of these certified 2003 pennies have gone from being overlooked spare change to commanding staggering auction bids. Let me pause and ask you, when was the last time you really examined the pennies in your possession? Most of us dismiss them as insignificant. We drop them in jars, leave them on countertops, even pass them off to kids as play money. But in doing so, we might be tossing away one of the greatest financial opportunities of our lifetime. What would you do if you discovered a penny that could pay off your mortgage, cover your retirement, or send your children to college debt-free? And don't think it's just about selling a coin. This is about stepping into the world of wealth building most people ignore. Coins like this are assets, hard, tangible, and historically proven to hold value. In times of financial uncertainty, while paper money loses power, rare coins stand firm, often appreciating even faster. Owning one isn't just lucky, it's smart. It's forward-thinking. Now here's the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. The true potential of the 2003 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny isn't capped at today's value of $203,000. As demand climbs and availability shrinks, experts project that future auctions could push prices into the million-dollar territory. Imagine being the one who discovers that coin in your possession today, holds it with foresight, and watches its value skyrocket tomorrow. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out an ordinary penny, and realizing it could change your entire financial future. Sounds impossible, right? But what if I told you that a 2002 Lincoln penny, struck at the Denver Mint, could be worth not just a few dollars, not just a few thousand, but hundreds of thousands of dollars? Some examples of this coin have even touched the doors of million-dollar valuations. And today, I'm going to reveal why this tiny 1-cent piece could hold the key to an entirely new chapter of wealth in your life. Here's the thing. Most people glance at pennies and dismiss them as useless change. They let them pile up in jars, roll around in car cup holders, or sit forgotten at the bottom of drawers. But every now and then, a penny emerges that is so rare, so unique, and so historically significant that collectors are willing to pay life-changing amounts of money just to own it. That's the story behind the 2002 Lincoln penny. Now, you might be asking yourself, what makes this penny so special? After all, it was minted only a couple of decades ago. Well, hidden within its copper-plated zinc surface are a series of extraordinary factors. Minting errors, pristine conditions, and ultra-rare varieties have transformed what looks like an everyday coin into a collector's dream. One of these 2002 pennies has reached a staggering market value of $202,000. Imagine holding on to something so small, yet so powerful it could pay off your mortgage, cover your children's education, or buy you the dream car you thought was out of reach. Let's take a closer look. The Denver Mint struck billions of these coins, but as with all mass production, mistakes happened. A tiny flaw in the die, a subtle misalignment, or a double strike could make one coin stand apart from the rest. For collectors, these so-called imperfections are what make perfection. When a coin expert recognizes an error variety, the bidding wars begin, and that's where the values skyrocket. Think about it this way. Would you rather have a common penny that nobody notices, or the rarest penny that makes collectors fight tooth and nail for the privilege of owning it? That fight is what pushes a 1-cent coin into six-figure territory. And that's exactly what happened with the 2002 penny, now valued at over $200,000. But here's where things get even more fascinating. The value of coins like these doesn't just rest on errors. Condition plays a massive role. Coins graded at the highest levels, where every detail of Lincoln's face, every line of the memorial, remains untouched by circulation, can fetch astronomical prices. Collectors aren't just buying a coin. They're buying history, craftsmanship, and rarity sealed in near-perfect preservation. And when the supply of flawless coins is nearly non-existent, demand explodes. Pause for a moment and think. How many 2002 pennies have passed through your hands without a second thought? How many might still be sitting in your home right now? The fear of missing out here is real, because with every day that passes, another rare penny finds its way into the hands of someone who recognized its value just in time. And once it's gone forever. Some might laugh and say, "It's just a penny. Who would ever pay that much?" But ask yourself, who would have ever thought a painting that once hung unappreciated in someone's attic would later sell for hundreds of millions? Rare coins are no different. They're treasures hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right eyes to discover them. Now, let's talk about opportunity. Imagine being one of the few who knows the true worth of this 2002 penny. Imagine checking a small collection of coins you've kept for years and suddenly realizing you're holding one of these gems. That's not just exciting, it's life-altering. And it's not some fantasy. People just like you have uncovered coins worth hundreds of thousands, simply because they decided to look. So what should you do? First, don't ignore your change. Search through those jars, those rolls of pennies you may have stashed away. Second, if you come across a 2002 penny, especially with the D-mint mark, examine it closely. Look for unusual marks, doubling, off-centering, or anything that seems unusual compared to a standard penny. And third, if you think you found something, don't hesitate. Have it appraised, graded, and protected immediately. The clock is ticking. Every year that passes, coins like these become rarer and more valuable. Collectors are hunting, auctions are heating up, and wealth is being transferred from the unaware to the aware. The question is, will you be one of the ones who benefits? Or will you let your chance slip away? Here's the truth. A single penny may seem insignificant, but the right penny, at the right time, can open doors you never thought possible. It can take you from financial uncertainty to financial freedom, from worrying about bills to planning dream vacations, from an ordinary life to an extraordinary one. And if all this makes you feel just a little more eager to check your coins tonight, then remember this: wealth doesn't always come from big things. Sometimes it starts with the smallest coin in your pocket. The 2002 Lincoln penny is living proof of that. So keep your eyes sharp, keep your hope alive, and never underestimate the power of what you already hold in your hands. Your penny of destiny might be closer than you think. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a simple penny, and realizing it could be the key to a wealthy, stress-free life. Sounds impossible, doesn't it? But what if I told you that one ordinary-looking Lincoln penny from 1991, with a tiny D-mint mark, could be worth nearly $1 million today? And in some rare cases, even millions. Suddenly, every coin jar in America feels like a treasure chest waiting to be unlocked. Most people pass pennies without a second glance, maybe even toss them aside at the counter. But here's the secret no one tells you. Coins are time capsules, and some carry errors, markings, or conditions that make them worth more than gold. And the 1991 Lincoln penny is one of those hidden gems. The current market value for a pristine, rare error variety of this coin has been recorded at $991,000. Yes, you heard that right, just under $1 million for a single penny you might have touched and overlooked. Why is this coin so valuable? The answer lies in rarity and mistakes. Some 1991 pennies were struck with misalignments, double-die errors, or were preserved in flawless condition, making them ultra-rare. Imagine the U.S. Mint running millions of coins through its presses, and in that vast ocean of copper-plated zinc, a handful emerge with something unique, something special. Collectors worldwide will pay unimaginable sums for those differences, because they know they're holding history in their hands. It's not just a coin, It's a masterpiece created by accident. Now, think about the fear of missing out. Right now, as you're watching this, there are collectors scouring garage sales, flea markets, and even loose change jars in search of this exact penny. One lucky person will find it. The only question is, will it be you, or will you let someone else walk away with your fortune? Picture this. A person once sold an old penny they found in a family desk drawer and turned around to pay off their mortgage in full. Imagine the liberation of wiping out debt, traveling anywhere in the world, or gifting your children the future they deserve, all because of one tiny coin you almost ignored. You might laugh, thinking it sounds like a movie script, but it's happening right now to everyday people. And the 1991 D penny could be your ticket. But here's where it gets exciting and maybe a little nerve-wracking. Not all 1991 D pennies are valuable. Most are only worth a cent. That's why knowledge becomes power. You need to know what to look for: the sharpness of the details, the presence of doubling on the lettering or Lincoln's portrait, and above all, the condition. Coins that have never circulated, kept in pristine quality, are the ones that can skyrocket in value. Can you imagine someone tossing a fortune into a vending machine without even realizing it? This happened before. Let me ask you, how many times have you rushed through life, ignoring the small things? A penny on the ground, a coin in the drawer. What if those overlooked moments are where the real wealth hides? It's funny, isn't it? We chase big paychecks, yet sometimes the smallest coin can bring us the biggest return. So, how do you know if your 1991 D penny could change your life? Start by checking the mint mark under the year. The D stands for Denver. Then, under magnification, look for imperfections, doubling, cracks, misaligned edges. If you find anything unusual, you might be holding a six-figure treasure. And if the coin is in mint state, untouched by circulation, that's when values explode into the hundreds of thousands, and in rare cases, millions. Now here's the twist. Even if you don't have this exact coin, every coin in your collection could be hiding secrets. The world of numismatics isn't just for historians or experts. It's for ordinary people like you who refuse to leave wealth to chance. The market for rare coins is thriving, with collectors ready to pay life-changing sums for the right find. That means opportunity is literally in your hands. But don't wait. Every day, coins are being discovered, sold, and claimed. The supply is shrinking and the demand is growing. If you delay, you might watch someone else cash in on what could have been yours. Fear can hold you back. But fear can also be the push you need to act now. Check your coins. Revisit your jars, your drawers, even your childhood collections. That one penny could rewrite your story. And here's the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. Some experts believe the next record-breaking sale won't stop at $991,000. Could break past the $1 million mark. What if it's your penny that sets the record? What if you're the next name whispered in coin collecting circles? The person who turned a single cent into generational wealth. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that looks just like every other penny in your pocket. But hidden in its copper surface is the power to change your life forever. A simple 1988 Lincoln 1-cent coin with no mint mark, something most people would ignore, is quietly making headlines today with values reaching as high as $988,000. Yes, nearly $1 million for a penny. The question is, could you have one sitting in your jar of change right now? The story of this coin is more than metal and minting. It's about the overlooked treasures all around us. Back in 1988, the U.S. Mint struck millions of Lincoln cents. For most, their destiny was humble. Vending machines, lunch counters, and pockets filled with loose change. But tucked away in the chaos of production, a rare error slipped through. Penny without a mint mark. A penny that collectors now hunt with feverish obsession. And one that, today, commands life-changing sums. Think about it. Most of us treat pennies as useless clutter. We toss them into cups on the dresser or leave them forgotten in the car console. Yet one of those coins could be worth enough to buy a home, pay off every debt, or even retire early. Isn't it ironic? The very coin we overlook every day could be our ticket to wealth. Now, before you rush off to check your change, let's understand why this 1988 no-mint mark penny is so valuable. The U.S. Mint usually places small mint marks on coins, identifying whether they came from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But this particular penny escaped without its identifying mark. Some were struck with slightly misaligned dies, some with faint or missing impressions, making them not just rare but almost mythical among coin collectors. And in a world where rarity and condition dictate value, this mistake transformed an ordinary 1-cent coin into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Collectors are paying staggering sums for the finest examples. Recently, one of these 1988 no-mint Mark Lincoln cents hit the market and reached $988,000. Think about that number for a moment. A penny, something most people wouldn't bend down to pick up, nearly hitting the $1 million mark. How many other overlooked coins are hiding in plain sight? These coins are out there. They aren't locked away in museums or billionaire vaults. They could be mixed into the loose change at your local gas station, resting at the bottom of your coffee can, or tucked into a dusty drawer in your home right now. Isn't it both thrilling and terrifying to think you might have let one slip through your fingers years ago? So how do you know if you've got the real deal? First, look carefully at the area just below the date. If there's no mint mark at all, don't dismiss it. Next, check the coin's condition. Sharp details, little wear, and strong luster mean higher value. Coins graded in mint state condition are where the real money is. Those are the specimens that soar into the hundreds of thousands. And let's not forget, professional grading is crucial. Collectors won't gamble on raw coins when the stakes are this high. What happens if you find one? Do you cash it in quickly, or hold it while values keep climbing? After all, the rare coin market thrives on scarcity, and as more collectors realize just how few of these 1988 pennies exist, competition gets fiercer. Waiting could mean even greater rewards. On the other hand, how many chances in life do we get to turn 1 cent into nearly $1 million? It's a decision that could keep you awake at night. And let's not overlook the bigger picture here. The 1988 no-mint mark penny is a reminder that opportunity often hides in plain sight. Most people are waiting for a windfall from the lottery or a big inheritance, while the truth is sitting right in their own pocket change. If you've ever doubted that wealth can come from unexpected places, this coin is proof. Now, you might be wondering, what are the odds of actually finding one? The truth is, the odds are slim but not impossible. And when you consider the reward, it's worth the search. Every great treasure hunter knows. The thrill isn't just in the discovery, it's in the hunt itself. Imagine holding a single penny in your hand, something so ordinary, so small, that most people wouldn't even stop to pick it up if they saw it lying on the ground. Now imagine that same penny being the key to a life-changing fortune, worth nearly $1 million today. Hard to believe, isn't it? Yet the story of the 1982 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny proves that sometimes the greatest treasures are hiding in plain sight, jingling in our pockets, waiting for someone with the knowledge and courage to notice. Let me ask you this. How many times have you tossed aside a handful of change without even looking at it? What if, buried among those pennies, there was one coin capable of rewriting your financial destiny? This is not fantasy. This is not myth. This is fact, and it's changing lives for those who pay attention. In 1982, something unusual happened at the U.S. Mint. It was a year of transition. The Mint had begun shifting pennies from solid copper to copper-plated zinc. And in that chaotic switch, mistakes were made. One such mistake was the creation of Lincoln pennies without any mint mark. A simple omission, yet it turned these coins into some of the most elusive treasures in American numismatic history. Now, here's where the story gets electrifying. Most 1982 pennies are worth only face value. But a handful, those rare no-mint mark versions in pristine condition, have skyrocketed in value. We're not talking hundreds, not thousands. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. In today's market, one recently sold for an astounding $982,000. Yes, that's nearly $1 million for a coin most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up. Why? Because rarity fuels demand, and demand drives price. When you combine a historic error, scarcity, and collectors hungry for the next great find, you get a perfect storm of value. And if you happen to own one, you're holding a ticket to wealth that rivals lottery winnings, without the odds stacked against you. But let me pause here. Imagine the fear of realizing you once had one of these pennies, and without knowing its worth, you spent it years ago on a cup of coffee. The thought alone can make your stomach drop. It's a reminder of why awareness matters. Ignorance costs people fortunes every single day. How many fortunes have already slipped through careless fingers? And yet, this isn't just about fear. It's about opportunity. Because unlike the lottery, this game is winnable. All it takes is knowledge, patience, and a sharp eye. Checking your coins is free. The only risk is doing nothing, and the reward could be life-changing. Ask yourself, isn't a quick look through your spare change worth the possibility of uncovering nearly $1 million? Think about the freedom that kind of money brings. Paying off your home in one stroke. Funding your children's or grandchildren's education. Retiring early. Traveling where you want when you want. Living not just comfortably, but abundantly. This is not just a penny. It's a doorway to freedom, to security, to the lifestyle so many dream of but so few achieve. Of course, some of you may be wondering, what makes one penny worth $982,000 while another from the same year is practically worthless? The answer lies in detail. Subtle weight differences, composition, strike clarity, and above all, that missing mint mark. Collectors and grading services like PCGS or NGC verify these details with precision. If you suspect you have one, it is essential to have it evaluated. Imagine being one coin away from a life you've always wanted, and losing it simply because you never checked. Here's the exciting part. These rare pennies are still out there. They weren't all caught, they weren't all melted, and they certainly weren't all discovered. Which means right now they may be hiding in an old jar in your kitchen, a box in your attic, or in the change you just got at the grocery store. Every day that passes is another day someone else could find it before you. And when they do, they'll be the one telling the story of how a single coin changed their life forever. So here's the question you need to wrestle with. Will you let this opportunity slip by? Or will you act? Will you continue to treat your pennies like pocket clutter? Or will you see them for what they might truly be? Undiscovered treasures. The window of opportunity is open, but it won't stay that way forever. As more of these rare pennies are found and enter collections, the chance of stumbling upon one dwindles. Those who hesitate may end up with nothing more than regret, while those who move quickly may find themselves holding a piece of American history worth nearly $1 million. And here's the final thought. Imagine holding in your hand a coin so ordinary, so overlooked, that millions of Americans have tossed it into jars, pockets, and glove compartments without a second thought. Now imagine discovering that very coin could be worth not just a few dollars, not just a few hundred, but close to $1 million today. The 1979 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is one of those hidden treasures, and if you have one, your life may never be the same. Before you dismiss this as just another old coin, ask yourself, how many fortunes in history were missed simply because someone didn't recognize the opportunity sitting right in front of them? This isn't about luck. This is about knowledge, awareness, and timing. And tonight, you're going to learn why this penny, struck in 1979, is rewriting the rules of wealth for ordinary people. The story begins in Philadelphia, where countless pennies rolled off the presses. Most of them are just copper-plated zinc, harmless, common, nearly worthless beyond their face value. But every so often, something extraordinary happened. An error, a variation, a tiny imperfection that transformed an everyday cent into a treasure chest disguised in plain sight. And when collectors hunt for these anomalies, the prices climb to staggering heights. Just last year, one of these rare 1979 no-mint Mark Lincoln pennies stunned the market by fetching a staggering $979,000. Think about that. A coin that could have been sitting in a school lunchbox 4 decades ago now has the power to buy a house, a car, even fund a retirement. But here's the part that sends chills down your spine. Millions of 1979 pennies are still in circulation. They hide in drawers, coin rolls from the bank, even in change you might have been handed at the grocery store. Somewhere out there, maybe even inside your home, lies the possibility of life-changing wealth. Do you feel the weight of that? The fear of not checking? The thrill of knowing the opportunity is real? Collectors aren't just buying coins. They're buying history, mistakes, and the stories that come with them. That's why a coin no bigger than a thumb can climb into the 6-figure and even 7-figure territory. And the 1979 no-mint Mark penny has become one of the most talked about examples of this phenomenon. Experts trace its extreme value to a combination of rarity, condition, and demand. Only a handful remain in pristine, uncirculated condition, which is why when one surfaces, wealthy collectors will battle it out in auction houses. Now, you may be thinking, how do I know if I have one of these elusive pennies? This is where your attention could pay off more than you ever imagined. Start by checking the date, 1979. Then look closer, no mint mark under the year. Philadelphia didn't stamp its coins with a mint mark at the time, but what separates the common from the extraordinary is condition and error details. Sharp edges, glossy finishes, or unique die errors could mean you're holding something worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And here's where urgency comes in. Every year, more of these rare coins get locked away in private collections, never to return to circulation. The supply is shrinking. The demand, however, keeps growing. Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing you missed your chance because you never bothered to check that old jar of coins. The regret alone could sting worse than the loss of money itself. It's almost funny when you think about it. How many times have you bent down to pick up a penny from the sidewalk and thought, why bother? It's just a penny. Yet history has proven, again and again, that sometimes the smallest objects carry the largest value. And this penny is living proof. The overlooked cent can carry the promise of a wealthy lifestyle, the ability to pay off debts, travel the world, and secure your family's future. But don't be fooled. Not every 1979 penny will make you rich. Some are worth only a cent. Some may be a few dollars. And then, every once in a while, there's the jackpot. The question is, are you willing to look, to search, to give yourself the chance that others may never take? Because the truth is simple. The people who live wealthy lives aren't always the ones who work the hardest. They're often the ones who pay attention to the opportunities others ignore. Imagine this. You open an old jewelry box, expecting nothing more than dusty trinkets, and instead you find a coin that could cover your mortgage. Or you unroll a stack of pennies from the bank just for fun, and suddenly your heart skips a beat as you spot the coin that changes everything. These aren't fairy tales. They're real stories happening to real people. The difference is, most people never even try. As we reach the end of this journey, the choice is yours. Will you be the person who shrugs, turns off the screen, and forgets about the 1979 no mint mark penny? Or will you be the one who acts, who searches, who maybe, just maybe, discovers $1 million secret in the palm of your hand? Check your coins. Don't let fear of failure stop you, because the fear of missing out should be far greater. Wealth doesn't always come from where you expect it. Sometimes it's hiding in plain sight, in something as small, as humble, and as overlooked as a single penny. And remember, the 1979 no mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just a coin. It's a key that could unlock the future you've always dreamed of. Will you turn it, or will you leave it lying in the dark, waiting for someone else to claim its hidden fortune? The decision is yours. The opportunity is real. And the time is now. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a single penny, and realizing it could change your entire financial future. Not just a few dollars, not even a few thousand, but potentially hundreds of thousands, up to millions. It sounds like a dream, doesn't it? Yet, for those who know what to look for, that dream is very real. And today, we're diving into the hidden story of the 1978 Lincoln penny without a mint mark. A coin that has stunned collectors and investors alike, currently commanding a jaw-dropping value of $978,000. Yes, almost $1 million for just 1 cent. Now, let's pause for a moment. Think about all the times you've had loose change lying on a counter, rolling under your car seat, or shoved into a jar collecting dust. How many treasures have slipped through unnoticed, simply because you didn't know the secret? That fear, the fear of missing out on a life-changing discovery, is exactly why you need to pay attention today. The Lincoln penny has been an American icon since 1909. By 1978, millions upon millions of these coins were struck. Most of them are worth only a penny. But here's where the story shifts. Certain 1978 pennies, struck without a mint mark, have emerged as extraordinary rarities. And when rarity meets historical significance, collectors begin a bidding war that can drive prices into staggering territory. The kind of territory where a single coin can pay off your mortgage, fund your retirement, or create the wealthy lifestyle most people only dream about. So what exactly makes these 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies so desirable? First, rarity is everything in numismatics. While the Philadelphia Mint produced many pennies without a mint mark, specific errors, unique die varieties, and condition factors can turn one ordinary-looking coin into a fortune. Imagine finding a penny that looks completely unassuming but contains a minting mistake so rare that seasoned collectors will do anything to own it. That's where excitement meets opportunity. Condition is another critical factor. Coins in pristine, uncirculated states, sometimes called mint state, are prized beyond imagination. Think about it. A penny that survived nearly 50 years without a scratch, dent, or discoloration is like finding a needle in a haystack. And when a coin like that surfaces, the price skyrockets. That's how we arrive at today's staggering figure of $978,000. Not bad for pocket change. Now, you might be wondering, why would someone pay that much for something you can't even buy a cup of coffee with? The answer is human psychology. Wealthy collectors crave exclusivity. They don't want what everyone else can have. They want the rarest, the most mysterious, the piece that completes a collection no one else can touch. And when competition enters the scene, prices soar. Have you ever been to an auction and watched two bidders locked in a battle of pride? That's how ordinary coins transform into million-dollar treasures. Here's the real kicker. Every single one of us has handled pennies from the 1970s. They're not exotic, not impossible to find, and they still show up in circulation today. That means right now, in your kitchen drawer, in your car, or tucked away in a forgotten coin jar, there could be a 1978 penny worth nearly $1 million. The fear of throwing that away, of never knowing, should send a shiver down your spine. And the thrill of possibly discovering it should set your pulse racing. But how do you know if your penny is one of the rare ones? Start with the basics. Look for the absence of a mint mark under the date on the obverse, the front of the coin. Next, check condition. A coin with crisp detail, bright surfaces, and minimal wear carries the highest value. Then comes the advanced part, errors and die varieties. Some pennies reveal doubling in the lettering, unusual striking marks, or even subtle design quirks that elevate them from common to extraordinary. These details can mean the difference between a 1-cent coin and $1 million treasure. And here's where urgency comes into play. Rare coin values don't stay still forever. As markets shift, as collections are completed, as new generations of collectors enter the scene, demand can explode. That means the penny sitting unnoticed today might double in value tomorrow, or disappear into someone else's vault forever. So when you find one, act quickly. Authenticate it, protect it, and when the timing is right, sell it strategically to maximize your return. Think about what nearly $1 million could do for you. Would you travel the world? Finally see the places you've only dreamed of? Would you secure a legacy for your children and grandchildren? Or would you invest in more opportunities, multiplying your wealth and building the lifestyle you've always wanted? One penny could open that door. Now, let's be honest. Most 1978 pennies you encounter won't be worth millions. Many will simply be worth a cent. But isn't it worth checking? Isn't it worth the few seconds to examine your change, to flip over those coins in your jar, to look closely at the date and the details? Because while the odds may be slim, the payoff is life-changing. And as history has proven, these treasures are out there. People just like you have stumbled upon them, often in the most unexpected places. So the next time you dismiss a penny as worthless, stop and think. That tiny coin could be the ticket to financial freedom. And if you let it slip through your fingers, you may never know what could have been. Which brings us to one final question, the cliffhanger that every collector and dreamer must face. When you check your coins tonight, will you discover your fortune? Or will you realize too late that you had it all along? Imagine for a moment that inside an old jar of loose change in your kitchen drawer, or perhaps tucked away in a forgotten piggy bank from your childhood, there could be a single coin that has the power to change your financial destiny forever. A coin so rare, so overlooked, that today it carries a market value pushing close to $977,000. Almost $1 million for a single penny. Sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? But the truth is, the 1977 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is exactly that kind of treasure. And most people have no idea it exists. Now let's be honest. How many times have you walked past a penny on the ground and thought, not worth the trouble? We're conditioned to believe these little copper coins are meaningless, the lowest form of money. But every once in a while, one of these tiny discs is a ticket to financial freedom. And those who discover them are the ones who suddenly leap from ordinary lives into extraordinary wealth. The 1977 penny without a mint mark may look like any other coin you've handled thousands of times. Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile, the date stamped 1977. But what sets this coin apart is what you don't see. There's no tiny letter beneath the date. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. Nothing. That missing mint mark transforms an everyday penny into an elite rarity worth hundreds of thousands. And in pristine condition, potentially millions. Collectors and investors are in constant competition for coins like these. Imagine a bidding war where every extra dollar feels like a heartbeat. Why? Because supply is painfully limited. Out of millions of ordinary 1977 pennies, only a whisper-thin fraction were struck without a mint mark. And those survivors, especially the ones in uncirculated or proof-like condition, become instant legends in the numismatic world. Here's where the story gets exciting, and maybe a little scary. These coins don't sit on the market forever. They vanish quickly, locked away into private collections, never to be seen again for decades. The window to find one, to hold one, is shrinking every single day. If you're sitting on a coin jar or a shoebox of old change, ignoring it could cost you dearly. Because someone else, someone willing to look closer, might be cashing in on a fortune that could have been yours. Of course, you might be wondering, how does a coin like this end up commanding close to $1 million? The answer lies in condition, rarity, and demand. A well-worn penny might still fetch thousands. But a flawless specimen, graded by professional services and certified as near perfect, triggers wild bidding frenzies at auction. It's not just about money. It's about status, history, and the thrill of owning a piece of America's monetary legacy. Think about it. A penny minted in 1977, back when gas was under $1, when Elvis Presley had just left this world, when Star Wars first hit theaters, could today pay off a house, fund your retirement, or even buy you a life of luxury. All because of a tiny, almost invisible detail. Isn't it ironic? The smallest coin in our pockets can sometimes carry the largest weight in our financial future. Now let me ask you, have you checked your change lately? Not just glanced at it, but really examined it? Most people don't. They see a penny, they dismiss it. But for those who do take the time, the reward is unimaginable. The fear of missing out here is very real. Because while you're hesitating, while you're telling yourself it's just a penny, others are quietly sending theirs to grading services, quietly walking away with life-changing checks. And here's the part most people won't tell you. These opportunities aren't endless. As collectors snap them up, as investors hoard them for decades, the supply dwindles. What happens to the value then? It rises exponentially. The fewer coins available, the higher the price climbs. And when a nearly perfect 1977 no-mint mark penny last surfaced, the hammer dropped at a staggering $977,000. That's today's market. Tomorrow, who knows? It could cross $1 million, so picture yourself sitting at your kitchen table tonight, sifting through a pile of old pennies. At first, it feels tedious, maybe even silly. But then your heart skips. You spot the date, 1977. You look closer. No mint mark. Could it be? The rush of adrenaline in that moment. The thought that in your hand could be the key to financial freedom. That's not a fantasy. That's reality for the few who dare to look. And maybe that's the question you need to answer right now. Will you be the person who shrugs and ignores the pennies? Or will you be the one who uncovers a piece of American history worth nearly $1 million? The choice, quite literally, is in your hands. Because if a single penny can be worth $977,000, imagine what else is hiding in plain sight, waiting for you to notice. Now tell me, should I extend the story to include how to authenticate and sell one of these coins? Or would you like me to leave the suspense hanging right here at the edge? Imagine holding a simple brown penny in your hand, something you might have tossed into a jar without a second thought. Now imagine that same coin being worth nearly $1 million. Sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? Yet right now, the 1976 Lincoln penny with a tiny D mint mark from Denver has turned ordinary people into millionaires. And here's the twist. It could be sitting unnoticed in your very own collection. Most of us grew up believing pennies were worth next to nothing. A coin you couldn't even buy a stick of gum with. But every once in a while, history plays a trick on us. A mistake in the minting process, an unusual metal composition, or a rare survival of pristine condition can transform that 1-cent piece into a life-changing asset. The 1976 D Lincoln penny is one of those astonishing stories. Today, the market whispers about a specimen that recently fetched an astounding $975,000. Almost $1 million for a coin you could have stepped over on a sidewalk. What makes this penny so valuable? Let's start with its year 1976, America's bicentennial. The whole nation was celebrating 200 years of freedom, fireworks, and parades. Collectors were already on high alert, hoarding coins minted during this patriotic year. But at the Denver Mint, something unusual happened. A tiny batch of Lincoln pennies came out with traits so unique, so rare, that collectors have been hunting for them ever since. Now, before we go deeper, let me ask you something. How many pennies have you carelessly handed over at a store or let roll between your car seats? What if one of those was the key to a wealthy lifestyle you've always dreamed of? It's almost painful to think about. That's why you need to pay attention, because finding one could mean walking away with financial freedom. Here's the detail serious collectors obsess over: condition. In the world of numismatics, condition is everything. A 1976 D Lincoln penny that has been circulated is worth a few cents at best. But the rare survivors, those struck with crisp detail, flawless luster, and virtually untouched surfaces, are the ones commanding jaw-dropping prices. And if your coin happens to carry one of those minting quirks or rare errors, the value can leap into the stratosphere. Imagine spotting a double die strike under magnification or an off-center imprint and realizing you're staring at a fortune. Think of it like real estate. Two houses on the same street, built the same year, but one has hidden structural brilliance and suddenly it's worth 10 times more. The same goes for coins. And the 1976 D penny has proven to be one of those remarkable properties in the world of money. Of course, not every coin will make you a millionaire. But here's where urgency enters the picture. Collectors today are fiercely competing for rare pennies, driving prices to record highs. What sold for a few $100,000 a decade ago is now pushing close to $1 million. If history repeats itself, imagine where values could go in another 10 years. Missing your chance to check your old coin jars now might be the single most expensive mistake of your life. And here's something that should make you chuckle. People sometimes say, "It's just a penny, who cares?" Well, the person who cashed in their 1976 D penny for nearly $1 million certainly cares. And you would too if you realized the coin you used to scratch off a lottery ticket was worth more than the jackpot. Now let's address the question buzzing in your mind. How do you know if your penny is the one? Start by checking for the D mint mark just below the date. Then examine the coin's condition, sharpness of detail, shine, and overall preservation. Professional grading services can certify its quality, giving you not only peace of mind but also the credibility to sell it at top dollar. Without that certification, your penny is just a story. With it, your penny is a weapon in the world of wealth. Imagine the scene. You walk into an auction house or contact a rare coin dealer, and they confirm it. Their eyes widen, whispers spread, and you realize you've been holding a treasure all along. That moment, that adrenaline, could very well be the turning point of your life. And the best part? It's not luck, it's awareness. Some viewers watching right now will shrug this off, thinking it's too far-fetched. Others will act, check their coins, and maybe, just maybe, stumble upon the opportunity of a life. Imagine walking past a dusty old drawer in your home, pulling it open, and finding a penny from 1975. Just an ordinary copper coin, right? What if I told you that one tiny cent, yes, just one, could unlock a life-changing fortune worth nearly $1 million? That's not a fantasy. That's the reality of the 1975 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Today, This rare treasure carries a staggering market value of around $975,000. And the most shocking part? Chances are, you or someone you know has handled one without even realizing it. Now before you roll your eyes and think, it's just a penny, what could it possibly be worth? Let's step back in time. In 1975, millions of Lincoln pennies were struck, but a small, almost imperceptible error changed everything. While most coins bore the usual mint marks, a handful slipped through the cracks without one. This tiny missing letter, invisible to most, transformed an ordinary coin into an extraordinary collector's dream. It's like finding a typo in history, a detail so small that it could fund your retirement, pay off your house, or even let you live the lifestyle you've always wanted. But why are collectors so obsessed with this coin? Because in the world of numismatics, rarity rules. Scarcity drives value, and the 1975 no-mint mark penny is the perfect storm of rarity and demand. Think of it this way. Imagine if one old baseball card or a first edition book you had lying around could suddenly pay off your mortgage. The principle is the same. When the supply is low and the demand is sky high, you don't just have a coin. You have a golden ticket. Here's where it gets really exciting. In recent years, these pennies have hit record prices at auctions, fetching nearly $1 million for a single piece. Can you imagine holding something so small in your hand that carries the weight of a luxury mansion, a sports car, or years of financial freedom? And yet, most people overlook these coins every single day. The tragedy is that many are sitting in coffee cans, tucked away in coin jars, or jingling in forgotten pockets, completely unrecognized. Of course, there's a catch. Finding one isn't easy. Most 1975 pennies are worth only face value, maybe a few bucks in pristine condition. But the rare no-mint mark version? That's the needle in the haystack. That's the one that collectors will fight over, that auction houses will spotlight, that can make headlines when it sells. And this is where fear creeps in. What if you already had one, and unknowingly gave it away in change at the grocery store? Imagine tipping your waiter with a coin worth almost $1 million. Painful thought, isn't it? So, how do you know if you've struck gold? First, look carefully at the front of the coin under the date. Normally, you'd see a small mint mark just below the year, but on this rare variety, there's nothing. A clean, blank space where that letter should be. If you find that, stop what you're doing immediately. Don't toss it in with the rest of your change. Don't clean it. Don't scratch it. Just secure it and get it professionally appraised, because condition matters, and collectors pay astronomical sums for coins in top shape. Now, you might be thinking, come on, what are the odds of me finding one? That's the thrill. The odds are slim, yes, but people win lotteries every single week, don't they? People find rare baseball cards in attics, priceless art in yard sales, and yes, million-dollar coins in jars. History is full of ordinary folks stumbling into extraordinary wealth simply because they paid attention when others didn't. The real question isn't whether the odds are small. It's whether you're willing to take a closer look at the pennies sitting right under your nose. And let's be honest. What's the downside? At worst, you'll gain a sharper eye and a bit of fun searching through your change. At best, imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a penny, and realizing it could pay off your mortgage, buy you a new home, and still leave you with enough to retire comfortably. Sounds impossible, doesn't it? Yet for some lucky collectors, this is exactly what the 1972 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has become. A tiny copper coin with the power to change lives. And right now, one of these elusive treasures has been valued at nearly $972,000. Just shy of $1 million, but here's the twist. Most people walk past these coins every single day, tossing them into jars, leaving them in tip jars, even losing them between car seats. They have no idea that what they're brushing off could be their ticket to financial freedom. So, let me ask you, how many times have you handled change without even looking at it closely? The story of the 1972 Lincoln penny begins in a year when America was in transition. Gas prices were climbing, the nation was preparing for a presidential election, and the U.S. Mint was striking billions of pennies. But within that massive production, something remarkable happened. Certain coins emerged with double details. Lincoln's profile, the inscriptions, the very year itself. All struck in a way that created a dramatic error. To the untrained eye, it's subtle. To a collector, it's a beacon of rarity. Now here's where excitement turns to urgency. These pennies aren't just old change. They are gateways to extraordinary wealth. The most valuable specimens, preserved in pristine condition, have stunned auction houses, with one recently commanding a staggering $972,000. Imagine a single cent transforming into almost $1 million. Suddenly, every coin you own feels worth checking, doesn't it? But let's slow down for a moment. Before you start ripping apart your piggy bank, you need to know what sets these rare coins apart. The key lies in the doubling effect. Look closely at the inscriptions Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust, and the date. A true 1972 double die shows letters that almost look like they've been shadowed, doubled, or echoed. It's not a smudge. It's not wear and tear. It's a minting error that slipped past inspectors, creating a collector's dream. Here's the frightening part. Thousands of people have handled these coins without realizing what they were holding. Some were spent at grocery stores. Others ended up in vending machines. And yes, many were simply lost forever. That thought alone is enough to keep a person up at night. Have you already let a fortune slip through your fingers? Collectors hunt these coins relentlessly, and the market has become fiercely competitive. Ordinary individuals, just like you, have turned a handful of pocket change into extraordinary wealth. The difference between them and everyone else? They took the time to look. They didn't ignore the coins they had. That's the kind of opportunity we're talking about, the kind that rewards attention, patience, and just a little bit of curiosity. And let's be honest, how often do we overlook the smallest things in life, assuming they have no value? Penny on the ground. A coin that feels too ordinary to matter. Yet those very moments, when noticed, can alter your destiny. A single cent can create a ripple effect, turning an overlooked detail into generational wealth. Picture this. You open an old drawer in your home, the kind that collects years of forgotten odds and ends. Among the paper clips and old keys, you find a penny from 1972. You hold it up to the light. Your heart pounds as you notice the letters aren't quite right. The date looks doubled, and the coin gleams with potential. That single moment could redefine your financial future. Do you feel the rush just imagining it? Of course, not every 1972 penny will make you rich. Most are worth face value. Some might sell for a few dollars, maybe a few hundred if they're in good shape. But the rarest of them, the ones in near-perfect condition, can climb to astronomical heights. That's why knowledge is power here. Knowing what to look for separates the dreamers from those who actually cash in. So here's the challenge. Tonight, when you empty your pockets, don't just toss the coins aside. Study them. Pull out your old coin jars. Search through that forgotten collection you haven't touched in years. Because the truth is, the opportunities are slipping away. Each year, more of these rare pennies are discovered, bought, and locked into collections. Each year, the window to stumble upon one in circulation narrows. And the last thing you want is to look back years from now, realizing you ignored the chance of a lifetime. What's stopping you from being the next success story? Someone will find another 1972 penny worth nearly $1 million. It's only a matter of time. The only question is, will it be you, or will it be the person who takes action while you hesitate? Because sometimes, the smallest things carry the greatest power. A penny may be the most ordinary object in America, but in the right moment, in the right condition, it can unlock extraordinary wealth. And if you're holding one of those coins right now, you might already be richer than you think. Keep looking, keep checking, and never underestimate the value of what's in your hands. After all, the next penny you touch could be the one that changes everything. Imagine holding a single penny in your hand, a penny most people would toss into a jar or slide across a counter without a second thought. Now, what if I told you that one ordinary-looking coin, a 1971 Lincoln penny with an S mint mark, could unlock a fortune worth nearly $1 million? In fact, the current market value for one of these rare treasures has been recorded at $971,000. That's not pocket change. That's life-changing wealth. But here's the catch. Most people walk past these pennies every single day, never realizing the goldmine hidden inside their own wallets, drawers, or old coffee cans. And once you understand why this coin carries such an astronomical price tag, you'll never look at loose change the same way again. Let's step back for a moment. The year was 1971. America was shifting into a new era. Vietnam raged on, NASA was preparing for the last Apollo missions, and inflation was creeping into everyday life. Millions of Lincoln pennies rolled off the presses at the San Francisco Mint, each carrying that tiny S mint mark under the date. Most of them were just what you'd expect. Ordinary copper cents destined for cash registers and piggy banks. But hidden within those millions were mistakes. Minting anomalies, rare proof strikes, and quality levels so pristine they might as well have been sculpted by hand. That's where the story turns from common to extraordinary. Collectors began discovering that some 1971's Lincoln pennies weren't just slightly unusual, they were unique.
Flawless Striches, Double dies, Shimmering Proof Finesses.
These coins became whispers in the numismatic world. And as demand grew, so did their value. Think about it. How many people in the 1970s saved their pennies untouched in original rolls, never suspecting that 50 years later, they could be holding on to a small fortune? Almost none, which is why so few exist today. Now, here's where the excitement collides with urgency. Because as the years pass, more of these rare 1971's Lincoln pennies are disappearing into private collections, vaults, and estates. That means the supply is shrinking, and as any smart investor knows, scarcity drives value. The latest auction price hit nearly $1 million. Can you imagine turning a single cent into nearly $1 million? That's the kind of return that makes Wall Street look boring. But here's the question everyone is asking. How do you know if you have one? Picture yourself sitting at your kitchen table, pouring out that jar of pennies you've ignored for decades. You pick up a coin, see that little S below the date, and for a heartbeat your pulse quickens. Could this be it? Could this be the one? Well, if the coin is a proof version with sharp details, mirror-like surfaces, or, best of all, a double die error, you just might be holding something worth hundreds of thousands. Of course, not every 1971's penny is a jackpot. Most are worth only face value, a cent. But the rare ones, they carry the kind of premium that changes lives. Imagine paying off your mortgage, funding your children's education, or even retiring early, all from a coin you once thought was worthless. Funny, isn't it? People chase get-rich-quick schemes every day, but the real wealth might already be sitting in a dusty box in the attic. Here's where the fear creeps in. Coins like these don't sit on the market long. Every time one surfaces, collectors swarm, and prices climb higher. The opportunity window is closing fast. If you wait too long, you could watch others cash in while your own coin remains hidden, unrecognized, its true value locked away. And what's worse, what if you spent it unknowingly years ago on a soda, a bus fare, or a cup of coffee? Imagine letting $1 million penny slip through your fingers without even knowing. And yet, there's humor in it too. Somewhere out there, a cashier probably counted one of these pennies back as change and thought nothing of it. Maybe it slid under a couch cushion or fell between car seats. How many fortunes are rolling around under dusty furniture right now? It's almost laughable, if it weren't so staggering. The truth is, knowledge is power. The people who know what to look for, the sharp strike, the flawless finish, the doubling on letters and numbers, those are the ones who seize the opportunity. And that's why you're here, learning this secret today. So, let me leave you with this cliffhanger. The next time you hold a penny, especially a 1971's, ask yourself, could this be the one? Could this tiny disc of copper be the key to rewriting your financial story forever? Because somewhere out there, someone is about to imagine walking past an old drawer in your home, a place you haven't touched in decades. You reach inside, pull out a jar of pennies and one of those small copper coins, something most people wouldn't even glance at twice. Turns out to be worth more than the house you're standing in. That's not fantasy. That's the reality of one of the rarest Lincoln pennies ever struck. The 1970 Denver Mint 1-cent coin, a humble penny that today carries a staggering market value of $970,000, and in some cases, well into the millions. Why would a single penny be worth more than a luxury car collection or a year's salary of a CEO? The answer lies in a perfect storm of history, minting errors, scarcity, and the relentless hunger of collectors chasing the impossible. This is where money becomes mystery, and mystery becomes wealth. The year 1970 was a turning point. America was in the middle of social transformation, the Vietnam War raged on, and the U.S. Mint was churning out billions of coins. Most of them? Ordinary, disposable, forgotten. But a small fraction, coins struck with a D-Mint mark in Denver, emerged with peculiarities that turned them into legends. Some show double dies. Others carry unusual strikes, faint details, or misaligned designs. And when the right combination of error and condition appears, it transforms a penny into a fortune. Collectors live for these anomalies. Imagine sitting at an auction, the air thick with tension, as the bidding climbs past 100,000, past $500,000, until finally the hammer drops near $1 million. For a coin most people would hand over to a cashier without a second thought. If that doesn't make you check your pocket change tonight, what will? Now, before you rush off to dump your piggy bank on the table, let me warn you. Most 1970 Lincoln pennies are worth 1 cent. Maybe a few dollars if they're in pristine, uncirculated condition. But the special ones? The ones with clear doubling in the lettering, sharp errors in the date, or strikingly unique mint features. Those are the tickets to life-changing money. And here's the real thrill. These coins aren't locked away in museums. They're hiding in circulation, in estate sales, in dusty collections sitting in your attic right now. Think about it. What if that penny you tossed into a gas station counter dish last week was worth nearly $1 million? What if the loose change in your kitchen drawer could buy you financial freedom? That's the fear and the excitement collectors wrestle with daily. The idea that the treasure could be anywhere, and you might have just overlooked it. Condition is everything. A 1970 D penny with scratches and where may fetch a few $100s. But a flawless, mint-state coin with the right doubling error can sell for more than luxury real estate. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have witnessed jaw-dropping sales of these coins. And every time a record breaks, the market only grows hungrier. Of course, skeptics will laugh. A penny worth nearly $1 million? Ridiculous. But let's remember, back in 2010, a collector paid over $1 million for a 1943 copper penny. In 2019, another Lincoln cent shattered records. History repeats itself. Markets reward rarity. And rarity, my friends, is why the 1970 D penny sits on a pedestal few coins can ever reach. So here's the question you need to ask yourself. Are you going to be the person who shrugs this off as just another story? Or the person who goes through their collection tonight with fresh eyes? Because the window of opportunity is closing fast. Every year, more of these rare coins are discovered, graded, and locked into collections. Every year, the chances of stumbling upon one in the wild get slimmer. But here's the twist. Sometimes, treasures appear where you least expect them. Estate sales, thrift shops, coin rolls from the bank. Yes, even the most unlikely sources can hide a 1970 D penny worth life-changing money. And that's the urgency. That's why collectors never stop looking. Now imagine what nearly $1 million would mean for you. Paying off your mortgage in full, retiring early, leaving behind generational wealth. All because you had the foresight to recognize value where others only saw spare change. It's not just about coins. It's about unlocking a new life. Pull out your jars, your old wallets, your forgotten boxes in the attic. Look closely, study carefully, learn to spot the errors, the double dies, the signs that separate an ordinary penny from a millionaire's dream. Because the next success story could be yours. If you thought the 1970 D penny was rare, wait until you hear about the coin that makes even this one look common. Another Lincoln cent that has stunned experts and shattered the record books. But that is a story for another day. Imagine holding in your hand a coin so ordinary, yet so extraordinary, that it could completely change the course of your financial life. A single penny, born in 1968 at the San Francisco Mint, carrying the humble image of Abraham Lincoln. You might glance at it and think just 1 cent. But what if I told you this tiny piece of copper has been known to sell for nearly $1 million? And in the right condition, even more. Suddenly, that penny in your jar, tucked away in a drawer, might not be so ordinary after all. Coins are storytellers. They carry with them the imprint of history, the whispers of an era, and sometimes a mistake or rarity that turns them from pocket change into treasure. The 1968 S Mint Mark Lincoln penny is one of those treasures. Not every single one, of course, but rare variations and pristine specimens are commanding staggering sums, one recently valued at a jaw-dropping $968,000. Imagine the fear of tossing something like that into a vending machine. Imagine the excitement of realizing you've had such wealth hiding in plain sight. But why? Why is this penny so valuable? It comes down to scarcity, condition, and the collector's relentless hunger for the rarest finds. The San Francisco Mint produced proof coins in 1968, and among them are examples so flawless, so impeccably preserved, that they border on perfection. A penny graded at the highest levels, such as PR 70, becomes not just a coin but a masterpiece, flawless under a microscope. Collectors battle fiercely for these elusive gems, and when there's only a handful in existence, prices soar. You might wonder, what are the odds of finding such a coin in circulation? Very slim. But here's the twist. Many people inherited coin collections from parents or grandparents, and tucked away in those albums could be the very treasure others dream of. How many of us have dusty boxes in the attic, waiting for a closer look? Sometimes wealth isn't waiting in the stock market or real estate. It's hiding in plain sight. In your family's history. Of course, with every opportunity comes urgency. Time is not always on your side. Coins can tarnish, lose value through improper storage, or simply go unnoticed until it's too late. Imagine the heartbreak of selling a collection for face value, only to discover later that you handed over $1 million penny. That's the kind of mistake that makes you laugh bitterly at first, then keeps you awake at night. So how do you protect yourself from such a fate? Education, awareness, and a willingness to look closer. When handling a 1968 Lincoln penny, examine the details, the crispness of Lincoln's profile, the sharpness of the lettering, the brilliance of the strike. Is the mint mark clear and well-defined? Does the coin gleam with proof-like perfection? If so, you could be staring at the key to a new lifestyle. And isn't that worth more than a second glance? Here's where it gets thrilling. Some collectors and dealers are willing to pay staggering sums instantly if they recognize what you're holding. But the only way to unlock that value is to have your coin professionally graded. This isn't a casual process. It's like having your diamond authenticated. Without it, you're just holding copper. With it, you might be holding a passport to wealth. And yet, the true beauty of the 1968 penny isn't just the money, it's the story it tells. A coin struck during a turbulent era of American history, preserved against all odds, and now standing as a beacon of hidden wealth. There's something poetic about that, don't you think? That something so small, so overlooked, could carry within it the power to change lives. So the next time you pick up a penny, pause before you dismiss it. Ask yourself, could this be the one? Could this be the moment where luck, history, and opportunity collide? Because someone, somewhere, will discover another 1968 treasure. The only question is, will it be you, or the person who thought that old penny wasn't worth keeping? Before you let that thought slip away, remember this. Fortune favors those who dare to look closer. The opportunity is real, the stakes are high, and the window to act is now. Because in the world of rare coins, hesitation isn't just costly. It's fatal to your financial dreams, so dig into those drawers, open those boxes, revisit those collections. Because one penny, just one, could be worth nearly $1 million. And if you let it slip through your fingers, you might just lose the chance of a lifetime. Imagine this. You're holding a penny, just a simple copper coin, something you've seen 1,000 times in your life. You might even have one in your pocket right now. But what if I told you that this ordinary-looking penny from 1967, no mint mark, no flashy details, could be worth not just a few dollars, not just a few thousand, but up to millions, with a verified market value hitting an astonishing $967,000. Suddenly, that tiny coin in your hand doesn't feel so ordinary anymore. Does it? Now, here's the twist. Most people walk past this fortune every single day. They toss it into change jars, let it slip through their car cup holders, or even leave it behind on the counter at the gas station. And in doing so, they walk away from the chance to transform their life in a single instant. Isn't that wild? 1 cent into nearly $1 million. So why is the 1967 no mint mark Lincoln penny so special? To understand that, we have to step back in time. 1967 was no ordinary year for the U.S. Mint. America was changing fast. Socially, culturally, politically, and in the coin world, things were shifting too. During this period, the U.S. Mint temporarily removed mint marks from coins. Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, none of them left their traditional signatures on the coins they produced. Why? To discourage coin hoarding. Yes, people were stockpiling coins, convinced that silver shortages and minting changes might make everyday change more valuable. So, the government made a bold move. Strip away the mint marks and try to level the playing field. But here's the thing. While millions of these pennies were struck without mint marks, not all pennies were created equal. Some had flawless strikes, some had rare variations in the metal content, and a select few survived the decades in pristine condition. Coins that collectors now fight tooth and nail to own. That's where the jaw-dropping prices come in. Think about it. You could stumble across one of these rare specimens in an old family coin jar, tucked away in a shoebox, or even rattling around in the drawer of your desk. Imagine flipping it over, realizing what you've got, and suddenly being catapulted into a whole new financial reality. That's not just pocket change. That's life-changing wealth. But before you rush off to dump out every jar of coins you own, let's slow down. Not every 1967 penny is worth a fortune. Most are still worth, well, a penny. Some might fetch a few dollars in circulated condition. The big numbers, the near $1 million value, come from coins that are flawless, uncirculated, preserved, and graded by professional services. This is where the magic happens. Grading reveals what sets the extraordinary apart from the everyday. Here's where it gets exciting and a little scary. Because while these treasures are out there, most people won't recognize them even if they're holding one. How many times have you glanced at a coin and tossed it aside without a second thought? Could you already have missed your chance at $967,000? It's a haunting thought, isn't it? The fortune could have already slipped through your fingers. But don't worry, it's not too late. Coins like these continue to surface in the hands of ordinary people who never considered themselves collectors. Someone empties a box of coins they inherited. Another person cashes in their piggy bank after decades. And then, the unthinkable happens. An appraiser confirms it. What looked like a single penny becomes a key that unlocks financial freedom. Now let me paint you a picture. You walk into an auction house, clutching that little copper coin in your hand. Under the bright lights, the bidding begins. 200,000, 400,000, 600,000. Your heart races. The room is electric. When the gavel finally falls, the number is called $967,000. And just like that, your life will never be the same. From pocket change to a luxury home, from a jar of pennies to a wealthy lifestyle you once only dreamed of. Here's a question worth asking yourself. How many times have you said, if only I had the chance, I'd change my life? What if that chance has been sitting in a drawer all along? What if your $1 million moment is no bigger than the tip of your thumb? But there's urgency here. The coin market moves fast. Rare coins change hands quickly, and demand drives up value. The window to capitalize on these extraordinary finds isn't endless. That's why the time to act is now. Educate yourself. Inspect your coins. Reach out to reputable grading services. Don't let fear of missing out haunt you years from now when these coins vanish into private collections, never to be seen again. And let's be honest. How would you feel knowing someone else found their 1967 penny, cashed it in, and secured their financial future, while yours sat untouched, unrecognized, and ultimately spent on a cup of coffee? A little painful, right? So here's the bottom line. Ordinary people are finding extraordinary wealth in the most unexpected places. The 1967 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny isn't just a piece of history. It's a ticket to financial freedom, to security, to a lifestyle that transforms dreams into reality. Don't underestimate what could be hiding in plain sight. That jar of coins on your shelf, that box in your attic, that old piggy bank. Any one of them could hold the key to a new chapter of your life. But you'll never know unless you look. Because sometimes, the greatest treasures don't glitter like gold or shine like diamonds. Sometimes they're small, copper, and round. Sometimes they're pennies worth nearly $1 million. And the only question left is, will you find yours before someone else does? Imagine this. You're holding a small brown penny in your hand. Ordinary, right? Something you might drop in a parking lot without even bending down to pick it up. But what if I told you that one of these little coins, struck back in 1964 at the Denver Mint, is today valued at nearly $964,000, and under the right circumstances could fetch millions? Suddenly that humble cent doesn't feel so humble anymore. Think about that for a moment. A coin most people ignore at the bottom of a drawer or stuck between couch cushions could be the very key to financial freedom. And here's the thing. These rare treasures aren't just locked up in museums or collector vaults. They're out there. In pockets, in old coffee cans, in the jars sitting in your grandparents' garage. That's the thrilling part. The possibility that you might already own one and not even know it. The story of the 1964 D. Lincoln penny is not just about copper and mint marks. It's about opportunity. It's about recognizing value where the rest of the world sees nothing. And it's about timing. In coin collecting, timing is everything. Coins that were once overlooked suddenly skyrocket in value as collectors realize just how scarce they are in pristine condition. Today, demand is climbing fast. But tomorrow, who knows? Now let's slow down and paint the picture. In 1964, America was a nation in the middle of great change. Lincoln pennies were being minted in the billions. The Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions that year. To most, it was just another penny. But here's the secret. Not every coin is created equal. Variations, errors, and ultra-high-grade conditions turn a single penny into a jackpot. Imagine holding one that slipped past inspectors, bearing a tiny flaw that today makes it one of a kind. Or a penny preserved so perfectly, without a single scratch or blemish, that professional grading companies awarded a top rating. Those are the coins commanding 6, even 7 figures. And let's be real. When you hear a penny worth nearly $1 million, doesn't a little voice in your head ask, why not me? Why couldn't I find one? After all, people are making these discoveries every single year. That's the beauty of it. Coin collecting isn't reserved for the elite. It's a hidden world where ordinary people stumble into extraordinary fortune. Now, here's where things get interesting. The market for rare coins is heating up like never before. Wealthy investors, hedge funds, even celebrities are diversifying by pouring money into collectibles. Why? Because unlike stocks or crypto, a coin like the 1964 D penny is tangible, real, and historically significant. They know rarity plus demand equals skyrocketing value. And when a recent sale of this penny hit the astonishing mark of $964,000, it sent shockwaves through the collecting community. Imagine what happens when the next auction pushes beyond $1 million. Do you really want to look back and say, I missed my chance? Now, let's address the skeptical side because yes, not every 1964 D penny is worth a fortune. In fact, most are still only worth a cent. The difference is in the details. Condition is king. A coin graded MS-67 or MS-68 can change your life. Errors like double dies, repunched mint marks, or off-center strikes transform pocket change into rare artifacts. That's why knowing what to look for is essential. And that's why so many coins slip through the cracks. Because people simply don't know the signs. Here's a little thought to keep you on your toes. Picture someone finding that near $1 million penny in a family coin jar, cashing it in and retiring early. Now picture someone else with the exact same coin, unknowingly spending it at the gas station. Both scenarios happen. Which side of history do you want to be on? The urgency here is real. Every year, more of these rare coins are discovered, graded, and locked away in private collections, never to circulate again. That means fewer opportunities for everyday people like you to find them. The window is closing, but it hasn't closed yet. And if you've ever dreamed of breaking free from financial limits, this could be your moment. So what should you do next? Start by checking your coins. Search those jars, dig through old rolls of pennies, and inspect them carefully. Don't dismiss the coins with a little d under the date. Those tiny details could mean the difference between pocket change and life-changing wealth. And if you're not sure, have them appraised or graded. Professional services can authenticate and value your coin, unlocking its true worth. Let me leave you with this. Opportunity rarely announces itself with flashing lights or neon signs. More often, it hides in plain sight. Imagine holding a coin so small, so ordinary, that most people wouldn't even glance at it twice. A single cent, dull copper, tucked away in a drawer or jar. But what if I told you that very penny, a 1962 Denver Mint Mark Lincoln cent, could be worth not just hundreds or thousands, but nearly $1 million today? Suddenly, that coin in your hand doesn't feel so small anymore. Does it? The truth is, history has a way of hiding treasures in plain sight. The year was 1962. John F. Kennedy was president, the space race was heating up, and the United States Mint was striking billions of Lincoln cents. Over 1.7 billion, in fact. With so many made, you might think every single one is common. But just like diamonds are born from pressure, a select few pennies from that year carry imperfections, rare qualities, and a story that transforms them from pocket change into life-changing wealth. Collectors and investors know this secret, but most Americans don't. That's why some people are cashing in on their 1962 D pennies for unbelievable sums while others let theirs sit unrecognized in dusty jars. Today, one pristine 1962 D penny with the right qualities has been valued at an astonishing $962,000. Let that sink in. 1 cent, less than the cost of gum, potentially worth more than the average American home does. So how is that possible? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and human desire. Not all 1962 D pennies are worth a fortune. Most are worth a cent. A few in brilliant, untouched mint state condition rise to a few dollars. But here's where the story turns electric. Errors, doubling, off-strikes, and coins preserved in gem-quality grades create staggering value. Collectors are willing to pay outrageous sums for the chance to own a piece of numismatic perfection. And when wealthy collectors compete at auctions, the numbers climb into the hundreds of thousands, even millions. Think about this. While you're watching this video, a collector somewhere in the United States may be nervously raising their paddle at an auction house, pushing the price of a penny higher and higher. Could the coin they're fighting over have once been in your hands? Could it be sitting in your change jar right now? That thought alone should give you chills. Now, here's where most people make the mistake. They look at their 1962 D penny under bad lighting, shrug, and toss it back into a jar. But serious coin hunters know the power of magnification, the importance of certified grading, and the difference between an average penny and a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. Would you walk past a diamond ring on the sidewalk just because it looked like glass? Exactly. And let's be honest, when was the last time you even checked your old coins? We live in a world where people scroll endlessly on their phones searching for opportunities. Yet opportunity might already be in your pocket, hiding in plain sight. If you knew a single coin could alter your financial destiny, wouldn't you at least look? But here's the catch. The market doesn't wait forever. Today, the top 1962 D pennies are commanding prices like $962,000. Tomorrow, as more collectors flood into the scene, competition may push values even higher, or if you miss the window, opportunities could vanish overnight. Wealthy buyers have no hesitation. They know scarcity is king. Do you really want to be the person who discovers their penny too late, when the market has moved on? You bring your coin to a dealer expecting a shrug, maybe a few dollars. Instead, they pause. They lean closer. Suddenly, the energy in the room shifts. Your penny isn't just a penny. It's an artifact, a trophy, a key to a lifestyle you only dreamed of. What would you do if someone handed you nearly $1 million for a coin you didn't even know had value? Would you play it safe, or would you let it change your life? Every coin tells a story. The 1962 D Lincoln cent is more than metal. It's a whisper from history, a reminder that wealth isn't always where we expect to find it. Sometimes the key to a wealthy future isn't in Wall Street or Silicon Valley. It's right there, jingling in your hand. Imagine holding a single penny in your hand, a coin so ordinary that most people would never give it a second glance. Now imagine that same penny being worth nearly $1 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single 1960 Lincoln penny with a small D mint mark could be your ticket to unimaginable wealth. One coin, 1 cent, transformed into a fortune that could change your life forever. Most people believe wealth is only built through years of hard work, saving, and sacrifice. But what if I told you the wealth you've been chasing might already be sitting in an old jar in your attic, a forgotten box in the garage, or even in the change you received at the grocery store? This isn't fantasy, it's reality. Right now, collectors and auction houses are paying up to $960,000 for the right 1960D mint Mark Lincoln penny. So why this coin? Why would a small, seemingly insignificant copper piece command such staggering value? The answer lies in a combination of rarity, minting anomalies, and history. In 1960, the Denver Mint produced millions of Lincoln pennies. But within that production run, something unusual occurred. A unique variety, now known among collectors as one of the holy grails of American coinage, emerged. These coins weren't supposed to exist, and yet they do in small, tantalizing numbers. Imagine the thrill of being one of the few who discovers one, holding not just a coin, but a piece of hidden treasure. Every collector, every investor, every wealthy individual hunting rare coins understands one timeless truth: value is born from scarcity. And the 1960D penny isn't just scarce, it's legendary. But here's the part most people miss. The difference between an ordinary penny worth 1 cent and an extraordinary one worth close to $1 million lies in the tiniest of details. It could be a double date, a small date versus large date variation, or a subtle minting anomaly. That's right, the difference between pocket change and life-changing wealth may be visible only under a magnifying glass. Let me ask you, how many times have you tossed pennies aside, leaving them in your car's cup holder or at the bottom of a drawer? What if one of those forgotten coins was worth more than your house? Suddenly, every penny seems worth inspecting, doesn't it? And here's the urgency. While you wait, others are already searching, finding, selling, and living the life you only dream about. Picture yourself walking into an auction house, coin in hand, as the bids climb higher and higher. The crowd gasps, the auctioneer's voice quickens, and the numbers flash before your eyes. Hundreds of thousands of dollars, until the hammer falls, and in that instant your life is forever transformed. That is the power of this coin. That is the opportunity sitting silently in circulation, waiting for someone like you to recognize it. And here's where the story takes a twist. Every month, more and more of these rare coins surface, but every time one is sold, the supply shrinks. Collectors lock them away, investors hoard them, and availability becomes tighter. Fewer coins on the market mean rising prices. So today's $960,000 valuation, tomorrow it could be even higher. Waiting could cost you more than you realize. Of course, I know what you're thinking. Isn't it too good to be true? Can a penny really make me wealthy? The truth is yes, but only if you're willing to look closely, educate yourself, and act quickly. Wealth doesn't wait for hesitation. It rewards the bold, the curious, the ones who dare to check every coin that passes through their hands. After all, who said treasure hunts were only for children? Here's something most people overlook. This isn't just about money. It's about freedom. It's about what that money represents. The ability to live on your own terms, to provide security for your family, to retire earlier, to travel, to wake up without worry. All from a coin so small, so humble, so ordinary, that millions have ignored it. But not you. Not anymore. So what should you do next? Start simple. Check your coin jars.